Hi everybody, thanks for pressing play on the video today. It's Caroline here from craftycarolinecreates.blogspot.co.uk. I showed you a tutorial last week that showed you how to make these gorgeous greeting cards using the wonderful new watercolour wings stamp set from Stampin Up. And on that video I said I would come back and show you how to make a lovely gift box for them, and that's what this video is all about. So we have a beautiful sort of flip lid box for them. Okay, put that to one side over there and I will show you how it was made. So I'm going to start off with a piece of Whisper White cardstock. Now I have trimmed this down very slightly, so it now measures 11.5 inches by 8 inches. As always, the dimensions will be over on my blog, which I will link to below. We're going to start by scoring along the long side at 3/4 of an inch, 5 3/8 of an inch, 6 1/8 of an inch, and at 10 3/4 of an inch. Okay. We're then going to turn it round and we're going to do one score line at 7 1/4 inch. Okay. I'm going to move the scoreboard out of the way momentarily. Don't put it too far away because we will need it back in a minute. Now, can you see we've kind of made a grid that goes along with a score line along one side. Sorry, it would have come off the scoreboard like this. And what we need to do is some stamping in this section here. Now, I've already done that to save some time. If you want a close-up of how to stamp these butterflies, head over to another YouTube video that I did earlier which showed you how to make the cards, which sort of is a step-by-step of how to use watercolour wings. I will put a link below in the down bar to that video as well if you haven't seen that. But I just want to show you roughly where I've done that stamping. So can you see this butterfly is stamped just to the side of this score line that we did here. Let me see if I can rotate that so you can see. We're picking it up there. So there's that score line we did at 7 1/4 inches down there. And that butterfly is stamped in that top corner section there. And then this butterfly is stamped above this line but over towards this side here. Okay. What we then need to do is bring back in our scoreboard, and we're just going to score one more line at 3/4 of an inch along this side. Okay, and this is going to go through that butterfly that we stamped. Can you see there? And what that will do is give this lovely wraparound effect on the box, which also matches the cards inside that we also wrapped around the side of the card. Okay, so now we're going to put the scoreboard away for good, and we are going to score and burnish, fold and burnish even all those score lines. What I've used here is the new thicker Whisper White cardstock, which is just a little bit thicker than our traditional, well, it actually feels quite a lot thicker than our normal Whisper White cardstock. So it is great for boxes and for card bases actually. And it actually can stamp on it, as you can see, really well. Still gives really crisp stamped images. Okay, so just scored and burnished all of those, folded and burnished all of those score lines. And now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut up on each of those score lines that go up like this. Okay, and I'm just going to notch those out very quickly. Oh. So there are 6 tabs that we have made that we are notching out. Okay, and this, as always, just gives you a bit more of a professional finish on your box. Now this is going to be our lid, so we're going to start by making up the base. Now on smaller tabs like this, I tend to like to use Tombow as my glue of choice for sticking this together. Just find it's easier to get a decent amount of Tombow on those flaps rather than trying to mess around with snail or fuse on a smaller area. Snail generally isn't strong enough, so you do need to use something like fuse to make up these boxes. Okay, so I'm just putting glue on the underside of each of those 4 flaps, like that. And then I'm just going to fold this up. Just hold it for a minute because it is Tombow, so it will just need a second to dry and it should hold nicely in place. Okay, Tombow to one side. This is the 1-inch circle punch, and what I'm going to do is, just as you can see on the example that I've made, just going to put a little notch here, which is going to give me a little bit of a finger hole to make it a little bit easier to open. Okay, so I'm just doing that roughly in the middle by eye, and about, what's that, 2/3 of the punch, and that punches out a nice little finger hole. Of course, as always, you can measure it if you want to be exactly perfect. Okay, you can see on here is I have a banner, and we're going to make that in a minute, but we're going to fold up our box. So we are just going to put some glue on the edges, the inside edges of these 2 flaps. Oh, did I miss this one when I was notching? It would appear so. So just going to notch that one out as well. Oh, a bit of glue on there. And what I find is best is if you do this and you fold it round the box, it'll just give you, oh, if you can keep hold of it, just give you a nice neat finish and a tight close. Just hold that in place, and then the same on this side. Okay. And then just open it up to make sure you don't stick your lid closed just as that dries. Oh, that one wasn't quite dry. Just hold those in place for a second. Okay. And to make this banner, on this one I used Melon Mambo and Blackberry Bliss, which were the 2 colours on this butterfly here. On this one I am going to use Marina Mist and Pacific Point, which sort of comes from both of the butterflies, so we'll see how that looks. This is the triple banner punch, which is new from Stampin' Up. It's a really easy way to get these lovely pennant shapes on the edge of your card. So what I have is cut this, this is Cucumber Crush, and I've cut it to 1 inch. The banner punch does 1 inch, 1.5 inch and 2 inch strips. So I'm just going to feed the 1 inch strip, oh, open my punch first, feed the 1 inch punch, feed the 1 inch banner into there. You can see how it fits perfectly in that groove there. Push it right to the back, and you can see it gives you that really lovely easy pennant shape. I'm then going to see roughly where I want that to go, about there. Just going to make a little mark with my finger, and I'm going to bring in the scoreboard to do this properly. Just line that mark up with one of my grooves. There you go. And just put a nice crisp fold on there. Okay. Then going to use a little bit of Tombow on the back of my banner. And a little bit over this side here. I'm going to fold that over the edge, line that up where I want it to go there, and just stick that down. Okay, and then I'm just going to use my snips to trim that flush the edge of my box. Can you see that? So we've got that nicely wrapped around. Okay, the last thing to do is this little For You, which comes today from the Handmade for You stamp set, which I love. I do a lot of cooking, a lot of home baking, jam making, chutneys. And this is gonna, especially at Christmas, this is gonna come into its own. I'm gonna be using this stamp set a lot. So I'm gonna bring in my Whisper White Whisper White cardstock, some Cucumber Crush ink. Stamp that down. Just gonna stamp that there, upside down, but it doesn't matter. Oh, did you miss that bit? But I just stamped that down. 1 inch circle punch again, and I'm just gonna line that up and center that, punch that out. And there we go. And then I've got the 1 1/4 inch circle punch and that scrap of Pacific Point cardstock. Stamp that out as well. I'm gonna bring in my dimensionals. I'm gonna pop this up onto my Bermuda Bay. Here we go. Sorry, I keep saying Bermuda Bay, it's Pacific Point. Pacific Point. Slide that on for the box over, and that is just going to pop down on there like that. And there we go. 2 lovely little card gift sets to match the cards that we made last week. Hopefully you enjoyed the video and you give it a shot. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.